What's up, YouTube? Back at it again with another banger video. This time we're taking a look at Too Much Coffee Man, the original comic books 1 through 9 by Shannon Wheeler. This book I read recently. It's one of the funniest comics I've read in a long time. And it's easy to see why it was so popular.
Where are the filters? Shoot! Yeah! Yeah! Shoot, baby!
So if you've never heard of Too Much Coffee Man, it's a comic book series that ran for 9 issues, and it was published from 1993 to 2000. So a 7-year run. The creator, Shannon Wheeler, he started off making comic strips and then mini comics, and eventually developed it into a full-length comic consisting of 3 separate storylines. So the main storyline, the storyline we're going to focus on in this video, is the Too Much Coffee Man portion. So in the very beginning of the book, we see TMCM versus TMCM. Too Much Coffee Man versus Trademark Copyright Man. So it's a parody of comic book lawsuits that were going on, and trademark infringement, that type of thing. But we get our introduction to our hero. He's just a guy who wears these long johns and this coffee mug on his head, and he drinks too much coffee. And I guess he's supposed to be a superhero, even though he doesn't really save anybody or do anything or go on any adventures. He just kind of exists. Like, he just drinks coffee. That's his thing. He is Too Much Coffee Man. So we see he drinks too much coffee, has to go sit down on the toilet. He's got one of those butt flap in his long johns, so he can sit on the toilet without getting cold. And he just sits on the toilet and contemplates existence, contemplates life. He watches some TV, he checks his mail, he gets a letter, a cease and desist from TMCM. And he's like, why TMCM? That's my initials. So why am I sending myself this letter? He finds out that it's from Trademark Copyright Man, who's challenging him for the his emblem, the TMCM that he wears on his chest, and for the intellectual property. So he goes to the address that's on the letter. It's at this high-rise building. This is my favorite joke on this page. He goes into this corporate office and he talks to the secretary, and she says, TMCM, he's expecting you. Go right on in. This is a healthy building. No smoking is allowed. And Too Much Coffee Man says, no smoking is allowed? Well, that's good. People shouldn't have to smoke if they don't want to. That's a hilarious joke to me. So we meet our villain of the issue, Trademark Copyright Man. He's this stuffy lawyer type of guy, and he hits him with all this jargon and sends brainwaves towards him. And he sends Too Much Coffee Man away, and he tells him he has to stop using the TMCM logo. So we see when Too Much Coffee Man gets home, he has scissors and he's cut out his chest symbol. And he decides that he's gonna fight this. He's gonna lawyer up, and he's gonna go back, and they're gonna fight for the rights for his intellectual property. So Too Much Coffee Man, he goes back into the office, and he sees now the guy is wearing a coffee mug on his head. So he's stolen Too Much Coffee Man's identity, and he says he's filed a trademark on the cup on the head and copyrights on manic behavior, paranoia, coffee addiction, and exaggerated expressions. So the lawyer gets involved. He tries to fight him, and then this happens. This, one of the best pages in the whole book. He eats the lawyer. And after that happens, he starts laughing like a maniac. And Too Much Coffee Man, of course he has to defend the honor of his lawyer. And then a safe falls from the ceiling, and it was the secretary. She set up a safe to fall on her boss's head. And I have a feeling like the creator just didn't know how to end this. Like he was getting running out of time or running out of pages, and he's like, how do I wrap up this story? So yeah, a total Looney Tunes Acme safe on the head splat ending. And Too Much Coffee Man is the leader of this company now, whatever this company is. But he's in charge now, and that's the way it ends. But it doesn't keep with that continuity. Like in the next adventure, he's back to being just where he was in the beginning of this story. There's no like continuation. So as I said before, this book is composed of 3 separate storylines. So the first storyline is the Too Much Coffee Man, part of Too Much Coffee Man. And then you get this comics creator part, where we see the creator of Too Much Coffee Man as he's making these mini comics. This, of course, is like a fictionalized version of him, but I imagine some of it, at least some of it's autobiographical. See him printing off these mini comics. He's cutting and stapling them, trying to sell them to his comic book shop. He sees kids are coming in and asking about his comic. And also something else I wanted to mention. You see, when we first meet this comic artist, he has this underbite, these jagged teeth. Later on in the book, after he becomes like wealthy and successful, we'll see him again. Yeah, here he is. And he doesn't have that underbite anymore. Like he's gotten some money, he's gotten his teeth fixed, he's gotten his life together a little bit. The other storyline, the third storyline, is the fan. This guy is a fan of the comic, and he's on the opposite trajectory in life. Like his life starts out good and it goes downhill, while the comic artist, his life, starts at the bottom and he just goes up. So it's sort of comparing these two guys. It's interesting too. Of course, you come here for the Too Much Coffee Man, though. That's the reason to buy this book. But yeah, this part's still interesting too, and it's still a fun idea. Number 2 is the cliche issue, and it's just filled with as many cliches as you can think of. And of course, this was made in like 1990. Let's see, when did this one come out? 1993. So you're getting all those like early 90s image inspired cliches of superhero comics, which is fun. People still make fun of that era. That's still like the most popular era to parody, I feel like. So I said before that it goes on for 9 issues. That's kind of a lie. It's kind of false advertisement. It goes on, let's see, for 5 issues, and then we get to number 6, and he actually skips issues 6 and 7. And he writes this page here to explain the thought process behind skipping those 2 issues. It was during a time like, when like the speculation boom of comics, when people were collecting. And, rare comics were worth more money. And he said, what would be more rare than 2 comics that don't exist? There's 0 copies. So those would be the most, desired or sought after comics. So he skipped 2 issues. And he said, like, looking back at that, it hurt sales that he skipped those 2 issues. Because number 8, when he does come back and he makes number 8, it doesn't sell as well. But it's funny. I agree. I think it's funny. But yeah, he skips 6 and 7, and then he does 8 and 9. So really, if you're counting the number of issues that actually exist, there's only 7. But he did create a couple of covers for those fake issues of the comic. Anyways, that's Too Much Coffee Man. Hope you enjoyed it. I recommend it. It's a funny read. If you like funny comics, check it out. Be sure to tune in for my next video. It'll be coming out in a couple days. Thanks for watching. Bye.